every state in the union to be asking for bailouts, but it's come to a point where we can't kick the can down the road anymore. That can's become a 55-gallon drum, and somebody needs to be somebody with backbone to make the tough decisions to do what's right to make the state succeed. I always say, don't ever call me a politician. I like to be called a statesman. There's a difference between politicians and statesmen. Politicians care about the next general election. Statesmen care about the next generation.
Oh,
so, I
wow.
mean, that's what we need somebody down there to do. I'm not worried about being a political career here. I signed a term limit pledge of 4 terms, 8 years, and I'm done. I want to go back to my family business. I want to set the state straight, and then be able to come back and
live.
Yeah, work with my family.
You're very passionate about what you're representing now. That's a wonderful thing. Oh. And do you feel it's worth it so far?
It has to be done. I mean, that's the point. I mean, if we don't do it, if I don't do it, who will? And where are we going to go after that? I mean, if the state gets any worse and our taxes go up any more, we're all going to need to look for a place to go to.
It's terrible. What is one of the best questions that a voter asked you, and what was your response?
I got one when I first started running that kind of shocked me a little bit. Not shocked me, but was eye-opening. And then one a couple weeks ago when I was emceeing an event. I was getting signatures to get on the ballot. I got 1,700 signatures. A volunteer had come up, and we were talking after.
That's way over the requirement that you got 1,700 signatures.
Yeah, you only need 500 to get on the ballot. I made sure we had enough that it wasn't questionable, because they try to kick you off the ballot, so you don't run against them. It's cheaper that way, I think. But she asked me, she goes, well, what are you going to do when you get down there? You have all these great ideas, and they tell you, well, that's not how it works down here, and you have to play ball. I'm like, well, I'll call them out. I go, I'm here to do what's good for the people. I'm not here to play ball with anybody. The person I'm playing ball with are the citizens. That's who I'm representing. I'm not here to represent the Chicago machine or any other people. And they're like, well, they control the media, they control the microphone, so how are you going to be able to call them out? I go, well, that took me a second to think. I go, well, that's your job. I go, that's everybody that I know, all my volunteers, all the people I know, they have to go and talk to the people. It's not just me. It's like we have to work together. I'm here to help you. You're here to help me. If I can't get the word out and the media won't pick it up because they're blacking it out, that's when people need to start talking to each other. And if the citizens and the voters start talking to each other and not just listening to what's on TV, that's where things start making a difference. Or it's people educating people, and people not just sitting in front of a TV to get their information.
And complaining. Right. What was her response to your response?
She sat there and shook her head. She goes, you know what? She goes, that's what we need to do. And so.
And you're letting her know she can do something. Yeah. We talked about bonds. That's bad for us. We do not have a good reputation about bonds, do we? Nobody wants to help us in that area.
Well, we have the worst bond rating in the nation right now. We actually surpassed California last year. One of the things that kind of made me really commit to getting into the race was before I decided to run, I was at a town hall where John Cullerton was speaking. He's the president of the Senate. And he had started talking about how we're not the worst state, and I'm like, well, we have 50 out of 50 in debt, unless there's a 51st state. I think we're last. And he started going on a spiel about, oh, well, we're going to sell bonds to pay off our bills, and that's going to be the solution. They think they could just sell more bonds off, creating more debt for our future to pay off our current bills. I go, well, any idea what our bond rating is? And he's like, well, I don't know the number offhand. I think it's gone up since we passed the 67% income tax increase. And I was like, we're the worst in the nation. Like, how do you not know the bond rating? You're the president of the Senate making the budget, and you have no idea what our bond rating is? And first off, it's not a number, it's a letter grade. And
it's incompetence. He should know that.
Yeah, I mean, this is our Senate president. I mean, after that, it was a done deal. I'm in this race. Like, if this is what's leading our state, I mean, there's better people out there. And I come from a finance background, which is kind of rare in the legislature. So I think I'll add a little bit of
common
sense on budgets and how to manage money. But no, I mean, that was just appalling to me that here's the Senate president making a budget. He has no idea what the bond rating is. I mean, that should be the first thing on your mind of how much are we borrowing money from. We're paying 180 bips, I think, 1 point something percent more than any other state.
You know,
to
it's
borrow money.
just a disgrace. What about Medicare and Medicaid?
Well, Medicare is more of the federal issue. The Medicaid thing going on with the state, Quinn just passed a idea with two things. One with the pension pension reform being pushed down to the local school district level, and another thing was $2.7 billion in Medicaid cuts. And Illinois is kind of unique that in the past decade they've expanded Medicaid to cover more than just the elderly and the disabled and the low income. So we have a little bit more of a debt on Medicaid than, say, Wisconsin, who did a great job with their budget, turning that around. But we have a lot of fraud they're talking about, people who shouldn't be on Medicaid, people who aren't even from Illinois on Medicaid, and as well as Medicaid fraud that we hear about from the doctors charging tens of millions of dollars. I think there was a report that came out that there's $700 million they could cut from fraud and corruption out of the Medicaid budget. Which
$700 million.
Yeah, so that's about a third, I mean, out of 2.7, coming close to leaving only $2 billion to cut, but I mean, cuts need to be made or there's not going to be left anything for anybody else. And what the sad part is, the state can't pay its Medicaid bills because it's the pension crowd out. We have this huge pension problem that the state's paying the pensions before they're paying doctors or they're paying businesses. Medicaid patients have to realize they may not be able to get the doctor they want to go to. They may not be able to get the medical device. I've talked to owners of medical device companies. They're like, we can't cover Medicaid a lot of times. We won't even go to those patients because we're only getting paid pennies on the dollar for the service or product we're supplying. And also, if we do get paid, it may only be like a year and a half, 2 years later. So what does this business do? They're giving out all this product and they have no income from the state who's supposed to be paying the bill. So a lot of them have rejected taking on Medicaid people. So the people have to realize they're getting less options, less coverage because of what's going on in the state with the pensions and everything else.
What about Social Security? Is that in danger like everybody thinks it is?
Well, more of a federal issue, like Tim Wolf would be covering that on the congressional level. But they've always said, I mean, following the money of Social Security, I mean, I'm not counting on it. They're going to be 39 in a couple of weeks, but it's supposed to go insolvent in the next 20 years, 30 years. They keep revising the numbers of where the payouts are going. And nobody wants to make a change, but if changes aren't made, I mean, no decision is a decision. So, I mean, stuff needs to start changing.
Do you think we as taxpayers have become lazy or just used to the old way?
Yeah, a lot of people I can understand people get disheartened. They lose faith. They lose, this is just the way it is, and that's the way it is.
I can't do anything about it.
If you think like that, you're defeated. You're defeated already. You've already succumbed to what the other side wants to do. But no, people just want opportunities. Everybody wants the same thing, especially in this state. Like I said, everybody wants opportunities, make their families prosper, be able to have a job, be able to have security, and that's what everybody wants. I don't care, like I said, Republican, Democrat, Independent. They just want these opportunities, and they're finding with the leadership the way it's been, they're not getting those opportunities anymore.
It shouldn't be political, but it is, right?
Yeah, well, I think people are breaking down the boundaries. People are saying that, well, you know what, I'm raising the red flag, I'm raising the blue flag. One of my mottos is vote the person, not the party. That's what people have to realize. If you're just blindly voting for somebody because they have a red flag or a blue flag, you're doing yourself and the rest of the country a disservice.
It's meaningless.
Well, people don't want to take the time and the effort. People become too preoccupied, and they don't want to spend the time to actually sit down and do the research and spend the time on that. They are busy with other things, and they try to make a decision based on, well, I saw this ad or somebody said this, and you really have to do your own research and read into things and see where people have come from and see what they voted for, see what they back, like raise the income tax 67%, costing the average family over $1,000, raising the corporate income tax, which is driving out jobs for working families. You have to see what's going on and see what they're doing. And people can make a decision. I think once people are educated, that's the problem. We need, as people running for office, need to be able to educate the public. They need to be able to hear us, and they need to be able to listen and do their own research. Don't just believe what we say, but actually go, okay, what he said was true on this, this, and this.
And make their own decisions.
Right.
How are you going to change all this? I mean, we're talking in big generalities, but that's a big job you set for yourself.
Well, like I said, the first thing I want to do is make Illinois top 5 in the nation. There's no reason we shouldn't be number 1, but I think top 5 is a good shot for us. Currently, we're ranked 48th. Part of that plan, I mean, it's not rocket science. We have to compete against 49 other states. So let's look at what the 49 other states are doing, and we know we have to compete with them. First thing, lower the corporate income tax, so businesses want to come here. The red tape that businesses have to go through in some of the that goes down to the locality level as well as the state and county. The workman's comp rate, we have the highest workman's comp rate in the country. So, I mean, right over there, businesses were leaving us before this whole financial debacle just because of the workman's comp rate. Other things we have to do, like Indiana just made it a right-to-work state. So companies are going to look and they're going to say, well, do I go to Indiana, do I go to Illinois? I have the option in Indiana, so that might be a plus for me. So whatever's a plus for another state, we have to look at those states and we have to adapt them and make us a more business-friendly state compared to everybody else. Because once those jobs leave and businesses start setting up shop and growing, you know how hard that is to bring them back here?
Maybe impossible.
Impossible.
Explain what right to work is. That's very interesting.
Yeah, right to work is basically it gives the option to the worker if they want to join a union or not. If they want a union and they think a union is good for them, they can join the union. If they don't want to join a union, they don't have to join the union. It's basically giving them an option. I mean, giving them a choice. I don't know who would be against giving the worker a choice of what they want to do. I mean, otherwise in our state, you're forced to join a union. And pay the dues and do all the other things.
Well, that's kind of an iffy thing because unions are very strong, very powerful, and very intolerant of people who don't want to join the unions.
Well, they don't like people having choice.
Exactly.
I've known a few countries like that too, but
yeah.
I mean, I don't know how they don't want workers to have a choice. If the union was that good, I mean, it would be a no-brainer. I'd pay my union dues before I pay the mortgage. If the union was that beneficial to me, and they can show that to the worker, that worker would join that union and pay that due before anything else, if the union was that beneficial to them. And they're welcome to have a chance to show how beneficial they are to the worker, but at least give the worker an option.
Yeah.
Don't force their hand. I mean, that's probably the most un-American thing possible.
What about the media? Do you think a lot of people think the media is very negative and forces us to vote for people they focus on and write articles about? Is the media prejudice?
Well, I have a marketing degree from Columbia College. I studied marketing, studied media, and the persuasiveness of any type of campaign, and they can be very persuasive. I mean, the way you portray something just from a single shot of a camera shooting a crowd can make it look like thousands of people when there's only 10. Down to what the person writes about, to how the sentence is formed. I've had experiences in my own campaign of stuff like that happening where I get blacked out or not allowed to do stuff. But, I mean, that's what we have to deal with. But I think now with non-traditional media coming in, we have the internet, we have social media, we have stuff like Breitbart or the bloggers that are able to come in, and people are able to network and get information out themselves.
We have to stop. We could talk forever.
Okay.
Good luck to you.
Thank you. Hopefully you'll have me back sometime.
Soon. Okay, thanks for being here. It was our pleasure. And thank you. And we'll see you next time on Contempo. Thank you for sharing. Bye-bye. There's so much more to talk about. What would you have wanted to talk about other than what we did?
Just I touched the points of the state, changing that around. Just the point of what they're trying to do of blame everything on the past governors and not take responsibility of being the Senate and the House that make the rules and the laws. That's